Well, a number of polls suggesting that Democrats may be in trouble come November, but now there's a group that is headed by former Clintonite James Carville, and it is reporting some very troubling trends for Democrats, saying that the monthly tracking shows 64% believe that the country overall is moving in the wrong direction. Right direction, wrong direction polls are always pretty important, folks, in elections. And when rating which party could do a better job of handling the economy, take a look at this. Likely voters pick Republicans over Democrats, 49 to 36%. Joining me now to go over all this is Pat Caddell, former pollster for President Carter and a Fox News contributor. Pat, it's always good to see you. Welcome.
Good to see you.
So these numbers coming out from Jim Carville and Stan Greenberg, and they're ugly for Democrats.
Ugly is not the word. They have not even finished the full release, but they show people are more pessimistic about and more concerned about their own financial situation than they have been. Yeah. That shows that 54% of solid majority believe that President Obama's policies have not helped the economy or come out of recession. And the thing I was stunned by, only 39% say that they agree that the president saved the country from the brink. Yeah. With his policies.
And
that's the whole basis. That's the entire basis of this administration's policy.
We've clearly seen a push over the last couple of weeks in particular to get that message out, to tell people all the good things that have happened, to talk about the auto companies. And what we're learning in these numbers is that people aren't buying it. They don't feel that way.
The numbers are everywhere. It's the same thing, though, with what we saw in Missouri on health care. I have been, and Doug Schoen, we've been writing, we wrote months ago in the spring, this was a disaster coming if they did this. It is a disaster coming. And they keep still pretending that in Washington that it's not, that somehow people will like it. There's a bigger issue at work. The Democratic Party is fracturing, Martha, and it's fracturing over this. Democrats, old-line Democrats like myself, who believe the Democratic Party is supposed to stand for ordinary people, well, they think you should be worried about jobs first, not every other issue in the world but jobs. The Democratic Party has essentially been hijacked by an educated, an overeducated elite group who basically don't care about the people who constitute the Democratic Party. This is fascinating
because, I had a similar conversation with Hugh Hewitt earlier in the show. And we talked about the feeling in America that you see in these polls that people aren't being listened to, that their feelings don't matter, that what they want the priority to be doesn't seem to matter.
It's a much graver constitutional crisis. They believe we have a situation where we have 21% of the American people who believe that the government is operating with the consent of the governed from the Declaration of Independence. 21. 68% say no.
That's incredible.
57% of the people in a CNN poll a few months ago said they believe that the federal government has become a direct and immediate threat to their own freedom. Now, I am telling you, that is pre-revolutionary. And in Democrat, and what's happening is this sense of pushing people. We're gonna shove this down your throat. We're gonna shove this. We know better for you. The issue is very simple. Who is sovereign in this country? The people or the political class?
And I think people have a very, sort of tangible reaction to being told that they don't get it, that when they read the bill they'll like it, and I do think that people are rising up in that way. It's all economic, it's my assessment. When you look at what swept in the Democrats and President Obama, it was an anti-Iraq, anti-Bush sentiment. It was a huge groundswell of support.
Absolutely, Martha, but it's even beyond that. Look what's happening with this mosque issue. This is not just New York. It is the whole country. The American people aren't stupid enough to know what this is about. And the immediate, their reaction is going to be very simple. What is this that we always, we're suppressing, we're secularizing the whole country against religion and these people until it comes to protecting Muslims and putting up a mosque? How could you do this?
And you hear that a lot anecdotally. People just saying,
why do we
common sense like this? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you do this? And then you hear, Michael Bloomberg standing up there and saying, "You all basically are unenlightened. You don't get it."
This notion of and I hate this. I'm sorry to say this. The mayor's attitude, which is, "You are a bunch of dummies."
Right.
You folks, and my own party.
And if that's not the way he feels, he needs to come out and clarify, because that's clearly the impression he left everybody with.
The Rabinowitz piece yesterday in the Wall Street Journal was devastating on that. Dorothy Rabinowitz piece saying he basically doesn't trust the people. Well, this is what the problem in the Democratic Party, too. They don't trust the people. I'm expecting Republicans not to trust the people. They're not supposed to. Democrats are supposed to trust them.
But if the economy starts to turn around in a meaningful way, does everybody start to feel better about all of these things? I mean, is that it's different?
This, even before the economy got, again, worse, when Obama had all the credit of saying it's not his fault, he just took over. The takeover of General Motors, the movement on the stimulus, the spending of money. These people cannot stop themselves. Today, they just spent $26 billion more to bail out states that are profligate. and to bail out teachers' unions in some extent. This constituency politics is. And the country's saying we're going broke, which motivating
people. And is
people.
that revolution that you're talking about, is that going to be felt in November? Is it going to happen?
We are headed for a tidal wave in November, the likes of which I don't even know the dimensions yet. It's still forming. But I'm telling you, Missouri told me that was 1 million people. That wasn't some pollsters talking. That wasn't people in a bar talking. That was 1 million voters. And by the way, they voted in Michigan and Missouri, where you can take a ballot and pick the primary you want to vote in. 2-to-1 chose Republican ballots to vote in those two states that are basically, one's a heavily Democratic state and the other's a swing state. There is a message there, and it isn't pretty.
Yeah. All right, Pat Caddell, always great to talk to you. Good to see you, Pat. Thank you so much.